Troubleshooting no audio on the second receiver. Good Sunday evening to you, YouTube. It is 6:05 now. I am back at the bench once more. And I am looking at the Pioneer SX-3700. Now this is the second one I looked at in the last video. And we know, and I'm going to show you this on the schematic and the block diagram for this receiver of exactly what we're looking at and where the problem is. And instead of doing my usual, I'm going to check this and make a video out of it, we're going to go ahead and do quite a bit with one video and piece together things as we go. So this is going to be basically, hopefully, a start to finish, depending on how big it gets. In other words, a diagnostic of the problem, not necessarily the repair, but at least the problem that's causing the no audio output on this receiver. And we're going to go from there. So that's the way this is going to go. I may do this all the time from now on. I think people are getting kind of tired, and I know it bores me when I have to watch my own videos. But I think people are getting kind of tired of me talking so much and just not getting around to doing much. And so this part of the video will be one of the only parts I do talk on. And the rest of it will just be me showing what I'm doing as far as what I tested. Did it test good? Did it test bad? Things like that. And then we'll move on to the next test, because I'd like to try to get this diagnosed in one video. So that's the plan. I think 2 minutes was a reasonable time to tell you that. So let's get started. And like I said, I'm going to flash up pictures of the schematic and block diagram with points outlined of where I'm checking, and we'll check it, and depending on what we find, we'll go to the next step. Alright, before I turn this over and show you the exact points of where we're going to be testing at, let me show you. This is the transistor, the power transistors that we're going to be checking. There's one there, one there, one there, and one down there that you can't even see. But they're all hooked up to this big gigantic heatsink here, and that's one of the reasons. Let me explain this real quick. One of the reasons you start here, or I start here, is because 9 times out of 10, this is where the problem is with these kind of amplifier receivers, whatever you want to call them. This is where the power is, obviously, because of the heatsink that you can see there. There is a lot of power flowing through these transistors. And this is where this is what produces the sound that you hear. And what happens over the years, I don't know if this was Terry's in his shop environment or what, but you tend to crank up the volume a little bit in a shop environment to hear it. And 9 times out of 10, you just basically leave the receiver on all the time. And over time, heat builds up, and I don't care how good a cleaner you are, it does build up, and heat is developed, and heat is the natural enemy of electronics. So this is why I'm starting here. I figure if I don't have a signal at this point, we can always go back towards the volume control, which is where we have it, and work our way there and find out. But this is a good starting point to me. Alright, well, looking at the bottom side, the output transistors are pretty clear as well. You have one here, one here, one here, and one here. In each instance of this, you have the collector on this single side over here, and the base, I believe, is the bottom side of the 2 pins on each one. So these are the ones we'll be checking. The base, that'd be the input to the transistor. And we'll go from there. So let me get my signal tracer all set up, and we'll go from there, as I said. First thing I want to do is make sure we still have a signal.
And deja vu.
Okay, there you can hear the output.
Which is good.
So we're going to turn that down.
Bloomingdale's right now.
And like I said, we're going to use the signal tracer. to see if we can find out where our signal is at. Alright, we are hooked up now, and as you can see I have my ground hooked here, and the signal tracer is on. I don't know if you can hear it humming over here. I'll turn it up a little bit. So there it is. So it is on. The receiver is on and tuned to a station. So let's check our first base connection right here. And you can hear that I do in fact have a signal there. Let me see if I can get it up a little bit here. So there you go. That's the same signal we got coming out the other one. So let's go to our next one. Oh, there it is again. Definitely have signal on the output, the inputs of the outputs on one channel. I'm going to say that's a good signal. The only problem I see, it doesn't seem to vary any with the volume control. That one does. Oh, there you go. So there's your reason why I thought maybe it was a different reason, but so we have it on all four. So good chance these outputs are no good, because if we connect these speakers, which I'm going to do next, we'll see that we don't get much out of it. Alright, very difficult to hear, but I do have the speakers connected, and the volume is up about halfway, and you can barely hear it coming out. With the volume down all the way, I can hear a little bit, but not very much. So obviously these outputs are not amplifying. Basically that's whatever passes through there. Again, that may indicate short, I don't know, it just depends. I can go to, just to test that theory, I can go to another place on the schematic. Of course, I won't have anything different than I have here, because obviously the way it's working, it just doesn't seem to be working very well. So alright, back with you again. It is on a Monday now, morning, 6:28 in the morning. Got up a little early this morning. Sometimes I don't sleep so well. I think everybody goes through things like that. What I decided to do was to take the readings of the transistors before I do any soldering, and just see if there's if any of these measure bad. And I thought, well, you know, at least that would be an indication. And I do always have another one of these to compare it to if need be. So what I'm doing here, this lead is on the red lead of the fluke, and I'm going to attach that to the base, which is this one here. And we'll take the negative lead and attach the collector first. What I think the best course of action here for me is to compare it to the other one and see if it measures exactly the same, and I get the same type of charging up and all that stuff out of the other one. And I think that's a good idea. And that's what we're going to do. So let me get that set up and I'll bring you back. Alright, back with you once again with the other receiver. Let's take a quick reading on here. I have the red one on the base, the black one here. I'm going to say those are good transistors. On both sets. I don't think there's a problem with either one of them. Now, that begs the question, how come I'm getting what do you call it, on one and not on the other. In other words, this is the one that works. So let's, I say let's hook this one up and get the measurements on the, with the signal tracer and see what this one, how this one measures. Obviously there's a difference because one's working, one's not. So let me do that. Let me set that up real quick and we'll be right back. Alright, we are back again with the other receiver now hooked up to audio. Let me show you that it is working. You can hear. That's coming out of the speakers. So that's working very well. Now I have the signal tracer. I'm going to just, with the volume down, I'm going to press here, which if you recall, we had signal here before. We have nothing here. This is the base. Now let me turn it up just a hair. You can hear it's working fine. Now if I do touch the collector, I get that buzz. But if I test the emitter, I have a clean signal. Obviously this one's set up as a, I don't know if it's a emitter follower or whatever they call it, but so let's check the other one. Again, same thing. Same thing. Now I don't think I had this, I don't know if I checked that on the other one or not. I'm going to. Same thing. Not much amplification, but one thing is different now on this. If I turn the volume up, you hear that goes up. So that would seem to indicate to me that the problem is before this stage, because it's not doing that on the other one. It doesn't go up when I turn the volume up. All these are the same though. You can hear. So that is a good indication that these are just fine. As in, when I say these, I'm talking about these power outputs, transistors. So I think we need to get the other, what do you call it, up here and do some testing on down the line this way and find out where our signal is being lost. I don't think, and I haven't tried it, but let me try it up here at the volume control itself. I think up here, that's the wrong end. I'm going to turn that speaker off because I can't hear it. Yeah, the volume varies at the speaker, or at the volume control on this one, where it doesn't on the other one. I get basically the same thing. That's the high side there. So we're getting plenty of signal there. I think again that we need to set the other one up here and compare it. I don't think, from what I remember, that the other one did that. I think it was a completely different scenario. Alright, let me get the other one back up here. Alright, I have the other one now hooked up on the bench. And I'm going to turn it on. And make sure we have a signal. Now, that's on the base. You guys seeing this? We're on the base. Let's go to the, look at there, we have it on the emitter. How about that? Let's turn it up a little bit. See, now there's no turning it up, basically. It's the same no matter where the volume control is at. Bob mentioned there's a problem with volume controls on these, so I'm wondering now if we have a problem with volume control. Let's make sure all of these do the same thing. Yep, same thing there. Now this one, I remember this set we had to turn it up just a hair to get it. So I have it on all of them the same as I did the other one, but the only difference is when I adjust the volume control on the other one, the volume on these went up and down. Now this one's not doing that. So obviously the problem is before the finals. So that's our challenge now, is to find out where our problem's at. It may be that, like I said, that volume control. I don't know. That's a very distinct possibility, I suppose. Couple of ways you can get around that. Let's see. Let me go back up here. Up to the volume. Now this is the high side. That seems normal. Here's our wiper. See, I don't get anything out of that. Now there's our low side. Now this is just one side of the volume control that I'm playing with here. I can't hardly get to the other side. It's back underneath this frame here. So that tells me that there's a problem again up in that area somewhere. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm not sure how to do it, because like I say, it's all underneath this. I'd have to take this piece here off and try to find out why our volume control is doing what it's doing. This is interesting problem. There's no sense in going down here, to me, into this mess, because obviously it doesn't even vary the volume at the volume control, so there's no sense in, it won't do it down here just like it didn't do it on the finals. Obviously have a kind of a fixed output error. It just, you know, whatever comes through, and that's it. It seems to be the volume control. So let me get at it and see what I can find out, and we'll be back. Alright, one thing of note I wanted to show you, that volume control is bent down. It's a little bit difficult to see, but there's a bend in this front plate here, and the whole thing is tilted, like I say, downward like that. And I don't know if that's got anything to do with it, but obviously it's got hit pretty hard to do that. Like I said, this is pretty thick metal, and it's all pushed in there around it. Now this side's fine, but this side is pushed in. You can feel it. So I think I'm going to take that nut off and see what it looks like underneath. Alright, there it is with the cover removed. As you can see, it does point down a little bit, but okay, well, that's different. That is actually broke. Could you see that? Let me get you in there real nice and close. That volume control is actually broke. That might be the problem. I'm going to say it might be the problem. That's kind of weird. Never seen one like that. It's just barely hanging on by a thread there, and this whole section has gone here. So I tell you what, he takes all kinds. What I'm gonna do here is, and I'm not totally sure, but I'm thinking about it, probably take that out, obviously. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the rest of it. I think that's the whole problem. Back with you once again, and as you can see, this is the place where the volume control, volume pot, stereo pot, was soldered in. It is out of the board now, and let's take a look at it here on the bench. Okay, there you can see, I think this might be, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this might be the problem. Yeah, that definitely completely separated. I mean, as I took things out, this part fell out, so it wasn't even connected to this anymore. These were all separate. So yeah, that's gonna do me. I'm pretty sure that's the deal. I'm not sure what the value is. I'll have to look on the schematic or the parts list or something and find out. But this is what we need to fix this one. I'm pretty darn sure. I'm not going to rob this one off the other one because unless well, for one thing, this thing is just too difficult to get out. I can't even count the number of screws that I had to take out to get to this thing. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and try to find a replacement for it if I can. And hopefully I can. So, once I find out the value of it, I can start looking for it. So, that's going to do me on this one, you guys. Hope you all had a learning experience like I did. So, like I said, next step that I have to do is to find a replacement for this. Once I do that, then we'll start back in replacing it. And as soon as I replace it, I'm going to test it just to make sure that is the problem. But I'm pretty darn sure it is. So, you guys have a great, great day. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see ya.